Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and we are going to talk about Agatha All Along Episode 7, but specifically the big mystery at the center of the MCU right now. Where is Tommy Maximoff? Now, we got a huge clue this episode that might be setting up the upcoming show Vision Quest that will also directly set up Secret Wars and the end of the Multiverse saga. Now, the end credits of this episode was the song Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. And, you know, if you love Marvel movies, then you know that song from X-Men Days of Future Past.
Could save time in a bottle.
That was the sequence where Peter moved so fast that he was essentially able to freeze time. Now, this sequence was a lot of fun. It also overpowered Peter to the extent that he had to be nerfed in subsequent movies, but it also firmly tied this version of Quicksilver to this song.
Wait, what do you mean, this version of Quicksilver?
Well, I'll explain that in a second, but first check out this new Bees tarot card shirt for sale at our merch store, you know, in honor of this.
Not the bees! Ah!
We have lots of other fun Agatha parody merch and sweet new Venom parodies like My Little Symbiote and Bully Maguire. Links for all of those and more are below. So when I talk about like a version of Quicksilver, this goes all the way back to how Marvel leased the film rights to the X-Men to Fox way back in the 90s. So Fox then had exclusive rights to any mutant character. But Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch were kind of a gray area because they had also been Avengers. This is why we met one version of Quicksilver in 2014's Days of Future Past and a different version in 2015's Age of Ultron. Now, more recently, stories like Multiverse of Madness, The Marvels, X-Men 97, and Deadpool and Wolverine have established that all of those X-Men movies actually take place in a separate universe from the MCU.
Suck it, Fox. I'm going to Disneyland.
But, you know, with a little bit of multiversal travel from characters like America Chavez, X-Men's Beast could meet, you know, like Monica Rambeau.
What happened?
We were hoping you could tell us.
So, fast forward to 2021 with WandaVision Episode 5. In that episode, Evan Peters enters the MCU as the resurrected version of Wanda's brother Pietro.
Long lost bro get to squeeze his stinking sister to death or what?
So, this led all of us to wonder, is this really the Pietro from that other X-Men reality? Does this mean that we were finally going to see X-Men in the MCU? Now, Agatha showrunner Jack Schaefer revealed in the very next episode that this was definitely not a version of Wanda's brother.
It's not like your dead husband could die twice.
And of course, in the finale, we learned that he was just an actor being mind-controlled and that his name was a joke.
You're Ralph Boner?
Now, fans were disappointed, but I think there's something more at play here. I think this reveal, coupled with the song Time in a Bottle, is going to show us how Billy's twin brother Tommy is going to come back through the multiverse. Now look, we have seen different variants of characters in different realities that also happen to share the same face. For instance, the Human Torch looks so much like Steve Rogers that Deadpool confused the two of them.
Avengers! Flame on!
Sorry, what now?
And then of course there's the Venom films, which are actually part of this Marvel multiverse. They recently revealed at least two characters who look like other Marvel characters. Rex Garrison looks like Baron Mordo, and Martin the Hippie looks like Kirk Connors. So, following this train of logic, it could just be a coincidence that Ralph Boner happens to look a lot like Quicksilver. But I don't think it's a coincidence. I think that throughout the multiverse, certain types of people are drawn toward one another. I mean, think about it. A guy who looks just like Wanda's dead brother's variant happens to live right next door to her dream home. This, to me, seems like it's one of two possibilities. One, people like Wanda work like a magnet in the multiverse and like draw people toward them. This is similar to the anchor beams that we see introduced in Deadpool and Wolverine. People so special that they pull people toward them in every reality. Or this could have all been some kind of intelligent design by a big puppet master like He Who Remains. Remember, he rewrote reality to get Loki to a specific time and place. Now look, I know that the reality here is that all of these people are in a TV show and that Evan Peters was just likely stunt casting, but Agatha All Along has introduced so many mystical elements to this that now I definitely think with this song that they are setting up how Tommy is going to return. And I think his return is going to be very different from how his brother came back to life. You know, like in the comics, it was all complicated and tied to Mephisto. Now, I know that we all like to joke about Mephisto,
Not the bees!
but for real, he is a great villain. Kind of like Sauron, he takes advantage of your innermost desires and convinces you that you're really doing the best thing for yourself. Like, there's this great comic where Tony gets trapped in prehistoric times in a cave, and then Mephisto sends these women to him with all this cave grog. Now Tony's an alcoholic who is trapped in the past, so like this is a real temptation for him. Mephisto always comes at the heroes when they're at their weakest, and he takes advantage of your addictions and bad habits. And I mean, and we can all relate to this. We've all got some kind of bad habit we would like to break.
I know I do. I am still not welcome in St. Louis.
Well, for instance, whenever I get like super stressed out, I want to squeeze my face really hard or clench my jaw on one side. So I needed something to help me forget those bad oral fixation habits and replace them with a positive habit. And that is why I started using Fume. They're the sponsor of this video.
Hold on now, person. Is that a vape?
No, Doug, this is not a vape. It's not electronic, and it does not have pods filled with potentially harmful chemicals. Instead, it has these little plant-based cores that are infused with natural flavors to create natural flavored air. You see, guys, the flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking. Fume contains no nicotine, it is not addictive, and it contains non-toxic flavors. Instead, it contains plant-based flavors like spearmint ice, cinnamon hearts, and my current favorite, crisp mint.
Oh, that's why your breath has been smelling so nice lately.
Yes, it is. See, guys, with flavored air, you can satisfy your oral fixation through a passive diffusion system that does not use electronics, vapor, or combustion. But mostly, I like that it gives me something to reach for when I'm feeling anxious. It even has movable parts for fidgeting that make an incredibly satisfying sound. And you can get the Fume topper, which is a rubber wrapper for the end, which is good for chewing. Fume has served more than 300,000 customers like myself, and you can be their next success story. For a limited time, use my code ScreenCrush to get your free topper. Now this is the perfect accessory for your Fume device. Slip it onto the mouthpiece for a softer, warmer feel. It's chewable for those who love to fidget, and it's reusable. So head to tryfume.com, that's tryfum.com, and use code ScreenCrush or scan the QR code on screen to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today. So, when the hex collapsed, Billy's soul escaped. This is symbolized by the tarot card that Lilia reads for him, the Tower Reversed. When the hex collapses, instead of casting down the brothers Billy and Tommy, it makes them ascend to escape into new bodies. And we know this happens to Billy and Tommy because the tarot card has been altered to look like these two brothers. Now, to understand the show, we have to first understand the comics. In the comics, something similar happens. The kids' souls were part of Mephisto's soul, but Wanda altered the shards so much when she turned them into babies that the shards of a soul became independent souls who then attached themselves to teenage boys. Then, through reality and time-altering magic, these two random teenagers suddenly looked exactly alike, but had no memory of their life as Wanda's infant sons. Both of their powers manifest years later, and Billy gains control of his abilities first, becoming the hero Wiccan on the Young Avengers. Then, just like in the show, he discovers his brother Tommy, and then they work out their connection to Wanda Maximoff. And then, just like in WandaVision, Tommy has speed powers and Billy has reality warping powers like his mom. Now, Billy worked out all of this information first because, his powers are magic based.
Okay, so where is Tommy?
Well, that's what we're here to figure out. So let's go back to the song Time in a Bottle. The song's inclusion, instead of like literally any other song about time. Like seriously, Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time would have been a great choice. That song's inclusion seems to imply that Ralph Bohner could actually contain Tommy's soul. Now, I actually don't think that's the case. I have a better theory, but first let's run through this evidence. Like Billy, Ralph seems a little off. This could be because he's got the soul of a young boy in his body, but more likely this could be because he had two witches mind controlling him. Remember how God possession affected Eric Selvig?
Seemingly harmless rambler approached the area, then decided to strip naked and effectively terrorize tourists there with scientific equipment.
You don't just walk away from something like that. But the main reason I don't think Evan Peters is Tommy is because he's almost 40 years old and would be a weird inclusion on the Young Avengers. He would stand out like Ben Platt and Dear Evan Hansen. Like, a young Avenger who still remembers buying CDs would probably strain believability even more than people running around with superpowers. But I do think that Ralph Bohner and Time in a Bottle imply that Tommy will be found in the multiverse.
Now, did you say what now?
Alright, stay with me here. Jack Schaefer, creator of this show, was originally working on a different WandaVision spinoff called Vision Quest. Now, Vision Quest is going to follow the further adventures of White Vision. Now, Jack Schaefer chose to focus on Agatha instead, and then Terry Matalas of Picard Season 3 fame took over running the show Vision Quest.
Yeah, now who is White Vision again, please?
Okay, so White Vision is like Vision's body. He was reprogrammed by the government to hunt down Wanda inside of the Hex. But also, Wanda created her own version of Vision inside the Hex. And as she said,
You, Vision, are the piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me.
Yeah, what does that even mean, man?
Simple. Wanda's powers were activated by the energy of the Mind Stone. That's the Infinity Stone inside of Loki's scepter. So when that happened, it connected the energy of the Infinity Stones to Wanda. This is one of the reasons why she immediately felt an affinity for Vision, even before, he had Jarvis's mind.
I can read him. He's dreaming.
Now, this is where I'm about to get a little bit weird. We did a video a few years ago called Ultron Was Right. In that video, we talked about how Ultron, who was created with the Mind Stone, was actually able to see the future, and he knew that Thanos was coming. The stones are all connected, and they all share an intelligence, like the Red Skull said.
You might say it has a certain wisdom.
And remember, in Thor's vision, he actually saw the Infinity Gauntlet, followed by a flash of the Vision. And remember what he says?
I've had a vision. A whirlpool that sucks in all hope of life, and at its center is that.
And then in Infinity War, not only was the Vision at the center of the battle, but his Mind Stone was actually placed in the center of the Infinity Gauntlet. So it stands to reason that Ultron had similar visions of the future. Hell, Wanda's even able to see visions of Ultron's planned genocide simply by touching Vision's cradle. Now, I bring all of that stuff up so you can understand that there is an inherent connection between Wanda, Vision, Ultron, and the Mind Stone. When the Hex version of Vision bonded with the White Vision, he uploaded all of that data from the Mind Stone into the body of White Vision. So now, White Vision is flying around with all this cosmic data in his head, trying to sort out who he is and what is about to happen.
Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I?
Now, we don't know much about the show yet. Terry Metalis has brought on his frequent cast member Todd Stashwick, and we know that James Spader will reprise his role as Ultron.
What? Oh man, that's so cool.
I know. Now, it could just be for flashbacks, but I also think that Ultron would still be embedded inside of Vision. Remember, he was uploading his consciousness to the Vision's body when the connection was severed by the Avengers. So Vision truly is part Ultron, part Mind Stone, part Jarvis, but he is wholly unique. He is also the last remnant of the knowledge of the Infinity Stones. Remember, Thor, Tony, and Ultron were able to see visions of the coming future when they just barely touched the energy of the Mind Stone. And now, White Vision is, as some would say,
Cursed with knowledge.
and this is what brings us to Tommy and the multiverse. We know from Multiverse of Madness that Vision had an interest in other universes.
The multiverse. Fizz had his theories. He believed it was real and dangerous.
So I think that all of this is setting up that White Vision is going to see the new coming threat, the collapse of the multiverse. And this is what brings us to Tommy, Vision Quest, Young Avengers, and the end of the MCU as we know it. Now, a lot of you on our Discord have theorized that the show Vision Quest will be about Vision searching for Tommy, and I think that's 100% right. Side note, by the way, our Discord is a lot of fun. It's like a geeky safe space where we spout off all the time about new Agatha episodes, comics, Star Wars. It's a lot of fun. Free to join. Link is below. And while I'm plugging stuff, I want to remind everybody that we are about to go on tour to 11 cities near you. We're going to show you all the things that we can't show on YouTube, do meet and greets, do trivia, just geek out together and have special guests. And this weekend, if you use the code SCLive, you get 15% off tickets. The next show is in Boston on November 14th. The link to buy tickets is below. So in the comics, after Wanda Maximoff goes insane and destroys the Avengers, Vision's dormant programming activates. In the event of the Avengers' destruction, he was programmed to find individuals with connections to the Avengers to form a new team. And this led to the formation of the Young Avengers. So I think he will be taking similar steps in this show. I think that he will discover that Tommy's soul was released into the multiverse, and that for the good guys to win, these brothers have to be reunited.
But why?
Well, because Wanda is definitely still alive. Judging by this Chthon shrine in Deadpool and Wolverine, she is probably wandering around the void at the end of time. But she likely has no memory, which is exactly what happens to her in the comics. In the comics, there is an event called the Children's Crusade, where the Young Avengers track down Wanda and help redeem her. And I think that in the MCU, Vision realizes that the only person who's powerful enough to restore the multiverse and fight Dr. Doom will be Wanda Maximoff. Again, Vision is connected to that ancient energy of the Mind Stone, and the Mind Stone has deep cosmic intelligence.
I mean, look at this.
They're like neurons firing.
So I think that in Vision Quest, he will use this Mind Stone energy to see the coming destruction of the multiverse and the rise of Doctor Doom. This will lead him to recruit America Chavez to help him traipse through the universes. And due to his programming, he will also seek out other characters with connections to the multiverse. For example, Kamala Khan is part Noor from the Like Dimension, and she would need to bring along her new friend, Kate Bishop, who she recruited at the end of the Marvels. And you know, she also teased that Cassie Lang would join them.
I do have feelers out though. Did you know Ant-Man had a daughter? What do you want?
But Cassie also has invaluable experience. She has been back and forth from the quantum realm, so she knows a thing or two about time travel, other universes, and of course, Kang. Now, I don't know if all of this is going to happen in the show Vision Quest, or if Vision Quest will be more focused on one or two of these heroes helping to retrieve Tommy. But I definitely think that Tommy and Billy will not be reunited until the Young Avengers, and this is where it gets really fun. Leaker Daniel RPK has said that every Marvel project releasing after Doomsday will be set on Battleworld. That's the composite world made up of different realities that Doctor Doom rules in the comic book Secret Wars. So, like, when you look at all these release dates, it seems as if Young Avengers, like as a show, could fall in this time period. So then, in Avengers Doomsday, the new Avengers form to stop Doom. And of course, Doom wins and creates this new world where he rules as a god, called Battleworld. Now, in the comics, Doom even erases everybody's memories, so they can only ever remember a time when he was their god emperor. Creepy side note, he uses this as an excuse to shack up with his worst enemy's wife. So, in the MCU though, I think the Young Avengers are going to be in the void. They remember the real world because of Billy's magic, or, you know, for whatever reason. So then, they have to find Wanda and restore her memory, because she is the only person who could possibly face Doom in Avengers Secret Wars. And as I keep saying, all of this leads up to Wanda using her reality-shaping powers to give birth to a new universe at the end of Secret Wars. A rebooted and much more simplified universe where all of these characters are just inhabiting the same world from the start.
No. With the whole multiverse thing. It's not great.
And this series is going to be a key step on that journey. Tommy probably won't appear in this show, but he will be reunited with his dad in Vision Quest. And Vision, who now currently doesn't even have emotions, is going to go through his own personal journey about whether or not he feels any love for his new son. But guys, that's just my thoughts on Tommy's return. Do you have any theories? Let me know down in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. Please subscribe and smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.